Bilang isang mamamayan ng ating bansa,
being bombarded by countless typhoons, storms, and other calamities, our country had a long experience of suffering and resilience amidst the disaster.
we've set out to debunk how Filipinos prepare, survive, and recover from these calamities, and what really happens in the eye of the storm.
During the atrocities of Super Typhoon Yolanda, the Visayas region was the first one to experience its wrath. Millions affected, communities disrupted, a nation devastated. And coming all the way from Guian, Eastern Samar, Erlinda Alba.
Of course, naghanda. Kaya lang, nung naghanda, hindi mo talaga maiiwasan yun kahit sino pa. Kung yung mga mansion nga doon, talagang sira eh.
Lahat talaga.
Lahat talaga, yung mga bubong ng bahay nila parang ano ba yun? Yung parang nilupi ang yero.
Gano'ng kataas yung baha nila?
Wala namang baha. Yung dagat o tumaas talaga.
So, paano?
Kumbaga sa mga loob ng bahay, yung kagaya namin, nasa tabing dagat kami, hanggang leeg yung iba, hanggang leeg yung dagat. Pero sa amin, sa awa ng Diyos, syempre, nakaupo kami, parang hanggang dito lang sa ano namin. Nakaupo kasi kami doon sa may ilalim ng lamesa. Kaya parang hanggang dito lang yung tubig.
With that being said, here are some facts about the Philippines' historical typhoons. Let's begin.
But first, let's start off with Bagyong Yolanda, also known as Typhoon Haiyan. It is one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded in the Philippines. But how did this happen?
Good question. Well, it happened when Haiyan was reaching top speeds of 315 km per hour with gusts up to 379 km per hour just before landfall occurred, being in a Category 5 storm on November 8, 2013.
Indeed, affecting more than 14 million people across 44 provinces, in which it killed over 8,000 people and displaced millions of others. Statistics also show that it damaged infrastructures, communication lines, and agriculture, causing financial damages of over 95 million pesos.
Next up is Bagyong Ondoy, or Typhoon Ketsana, one of the significant tropical cyclone of the southwest zone that struck in September 25 to 26 of 2009, or late September of 2009.
The storm dumped over 455 milliliters of rain in just 24 hours, causing an unprecedented flooding in Metro Manila and surrounding regions.
If you look back on it po ngayon po, you think na, sabi niyo po kanina, kung like yung kalikasan na po yung pinakakatapat niyo po, hindi na po, kahit ano pong preparation po, hindi na po siya ano. Pero let's say na if you get to go back in time po, what do you think na pwede pong i-implement po nila na protocols na para mas magawing better, para at least kahit hindi man completely ma-erase lahat ng
Casualties, yung mga
casualties, at least mabawasan man.
Nasirang properties, gano'n. Ano yung sa tingin nyo, kung babalik kayo doon sa sitwasyon na yun, anong gusto nyo sanang gawin ulit?
Whether sa part po ng people or sa government.
O saan kayo nagkulang nung time na yun?
Para sa akin wala namang pagkukulang kasi ang ano ko lang para sa government, ang pagkukulang nila, after sana nung bagyo, agad-agad yung pagkain dahil yun naman talaga ang ng tao eh. Yung pagkain mismo, kahit lang ba yung mga nag-prepared sila ng lugaw para mainitan lang yung mga sikmura ng tao.
Moving on, we have the statistics saying that it led to 872,097 people being affected throughout the whole metropolitan area, 241 fatalities, 394 injuries, and damaging 65,521 buildings, while 12,563 buildings that are completely destroyed.
And lastly, Bagyong Ulysses, also known as Typhoon Zamko, being one of the most powerful tropical cyclones that struck the Philippines in November 2020.
This caused a significant amount of flooding, particularly in Metro Manila and the Cagayan Valley, affecting thousands of residents, which led to widespread evacuations.
According to its statistics, it had 102 fatalities, with 10 individuals reported missing. Its estimated damage reached approximately 60 million pesos, affecting infrastructure, agriculture, and private properties.
Typhoons belong to one of the most disastrous natural forces on the earth. This gigantic storm had the capacity to reshape landscape, economies, and human-made structures. So, how do typhoons occur? Now, we explore the science behind the currents of this phenomenon.
The typhoon begins in the tropical waters as the seawater temperature rises to at least 25 degrees Celsius. This causes the evaporation of waters to arise, which creates the low pressure area. As warm air water rises, it cools and condenses into clouds, releasing heat in the process. This heat fuels the storm, allowing it to grow larger and stronger.
With the continued access to low wind shear, warm water, and high humidity, the storm will further intensify. Following that, the developing storm will start to spin due to the Earth's rotation.
As the sea wind intensifies, the storm begins to organize. The calm and clear area of the storm will start to form. In the center, followed by the wind and rain that surrounds the eye, which is called the eye of the storm, where the heaviest rain and strongest wind occur.
Once the storm is fully developed, it will then start to move towards the land or to cooler water, which makes it lose its energy source, causing it to weaken and eventually dissipate.
For us to understand on what we could do during this type of disasters, we interviewed Kagawad Nelson Aguinaldo, a rescuer in the barangay of Tabang in Plaridel.
During may calamity, so maging alert po tayo sana sa maging makipagta po sana kasi kami po sa barangay po kasi nag-advise po kami pag po may dating na disaster, makisabay na rin po kami rito sa barangay and besides po, nagdadali po kami sa mga tao na nagpapaalala ng gano'n may dating nasa puna, kung pwede, huwag na mag-force evacuation. So kung saan na po sana sila umalis doon sa kanalagyan nila, bahain.
Genesis 2 verse 15, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. That from the beginning, God gave us the duty to take care of His creation is what reminds us of this verse. Responsible stewardship is not merely a job, it is part of our calling. Out of all of His creation, God trusted us with the earth, and it is our responsibility to protect it and use as a sacred trust, not to abuse or destroy it.
The first book of Peter, chapter 4, verse 10, states that each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. This verse underscores our responsibility as stewards of God's creation by emphasizing that our unique gifts should be used to serve others. By actively engaging with and supporting our communities, we honor our role as caretakers of both the people and our environment.
The Bible pertaining to stewardship reminds us that we are the caretakers and not the owners of the earth, which challenges our view and understanding of God's creation. Living sustainably, assisting our communities in disaster preparation and fighting for environmental justice are all ways that our faith should inspire us to take care of creation.
This verse reminds us that we are caretakers of God's kingdom and not owners. They challenge us to do business and serve others with what we've given. Our faith inspires action, as honoring God means using our gifts, time, and resources to care for the earth and reflect His.
In order for us to reduce the risk of hydrometeorological hazards and promote environmental sustainability, individuals can stay informed, prepare emergency kits, and practice proper waste disposal to avoid clogging drainage systems. Families should also develop disaster plans, conserve water, and plant trees to reduce flooding. Communities can organize cleanup drives, build resilient infrastructures, and support early warning systems. By fostering awareness, cooperation, and responsibility environmental habits, we can promote lives and sustain our planet for future generations.
Which is why we believe that as the church, which is composed by all of us Christians, should do two different things. First is to raise awareness. We have to show to everyone the deteriorating and the current state of all of God's creation. And to secondly is to act together. We need to learn to unite everyone to complete our very goal, which is all to be steward of God's creation.
Regularly monitor the news and other trusted sources such as Pag-asa and NDRRMC for weather updates, warnings, and advisories. Familiarizing yourself with the nearest evacuation centers and other alternative routes can go a long way. Knowledge is your best defense. Seek shelter appropriately. For typhoons and thunderstorms, stay indoors as much as possible, closing all doors and windows. For flood and storm surges, evacuate to higher and stay away from coastal and flood-prone areas.
The Philippines is one of the most marvelous countries around the globe. For us to sustain it, we have to look at different eyes.
Different eyes have different perspectives.
Each story for us to learn.
For us to see the bigger picture.
Thus, we can really see what happens in the eye of the storm.
Creatures of my dreams raise up